Hello, my excellent students. Today we're going to go over 5-6, and it's called the point slope form. So we have a new formula we're going to be using. That's written right behind me. So again, it's 5-6, the point slope form, and here is the form. So it says y minus, it says y, number 1, equals m, then parentheses, x minus x1, right? So you got to make sure we get that copied down. And then, just to make sure we know what we're dealing with, is the y1 stands for the y coordinate. We already know that slope stands for m, so there's my slope. And then my x1 is going to stand for my x coordinate, right? So make sure that you get this written down, and we're going to do a few problems with our new equation. All right, for our first two examples, I need you to write down this instructions, okay? So I'm just going to quickly read it. It says, write an equation in the point slope form. So we have to write something that's going to look like this, right? Given a slope, so they'll give us the m, and a point. And copy down example 1, and here's my slope. So we're given the slope of a -5, and then we're given a point of -3, 6. So go ahead, hit pause, copy this down, and then we're going to solve example 1. All right, so here's our example 1, which you already have copied down. But you might want to hit pause for just right now and go ahead and copy down these 4 steps. But make sure you give a lot of room over here for our work. So make sure that on your paper you just kind of put that way off to the left. So step 1 is going to be label slope and the point. Write the point slope formula. Plug in all our numbers and then simplify. So go ahead, if you need to, hit pause right now and copy down those 4 steps. All right, so it says step 1 says label my slope and my point. So I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to put m, right? That's my slope. And I'm going to label this x1 and y1. All right, so step 1 is done. We labeled our information. Write down the slope, step 2. So our equation, which is right there, rewrite it, y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. Right? So we go ahead and we write down our equation, and then step 3, we just simply match and plug it in. So there's my regular y minus, what's my y1? So my y1 is a 6, so I'm just going to put 6 right underneath it, equals, what's my slope? My slope is -5. I'm going to put a -5, parentheses, x minus, and then it says x1. Now my x1 is a -3, so make sure that you have a minus sign and a -3, right? And then step 4 is simplify, and here's what I mean by simplify. This is fine, y minus 6 equals, the -5 stays, but I don't want this minus and a negative next to each other, so we're going to simplify that. And remember that a minus sign next to a negative sign becomes a plus. So I'm going to go x, and then these two things become +3. And that's where we stop, because this is in the point slope form. See, take a look. See if it matches up. Y, yep, y. We have a y1, yeah, it's our 6. It equals, do we have a number representing slope? Yeah, it's the 5. Do we have an x? We sure do. And then I know this says minus x1. Sometimes it means it's going to be a plus. So you see how this is in our point slope form. So we'll do another one of these examples. All right, so we're moving on to example 2. If you need to, hit pause right now. But just write down that slope is a -1. And then they give us the point 6, -1. We're going to follow the same directions from step 1. So again, label the slope and the point. So what's my slope? That's easy. It's my -1. It tells me what it is. I label my point x and y. So x number 1, y 1, right? So now that we're labeled, and the reason we label is just to make sure that we do not make mistakes, and that's why step 2 is just important. Rewrite this equation underneath it. So here's my equation for my point slope, y minus y1 equals m x minus x1, right? That's the form we're looking for. And now that makes step 3 really easy of just matching and plugging it in. So I come over here, I put y minus, okay, what's my y1? I look right up here where I have it labeled is negative 1. So I have y minus negative 1 equals, what's my slope? My slope is a negative 1. Parentheses, x minus, and now I got to put my x1. Now this time my x is just a regular 6, so I just put a regular 6 there. Close it up, right? And only if you ever see these double negatives that when you actually need to simplify. So I don't want to see a minus next to a negative sign, so we're going to rewrite this. This side happens to be okay this time. So I'm just going to go y plus 1 equals negative 1 x minus 6. Again, the instructions on top of number 1 say write it in the point slope form. You can double check it. Is there a y? Yeah. Do we have a y1? Yeah, it's actually 1. Is it followed by an equal sign? Yep. Is it followed by a number for slope? It sure is. There's my x. And then this time, there's going to be a minus sign and my x1, which was 6. Right? So that's pretty easy. Now we're going to move on to what happens if they wanted us to take it all the way to the y-intercept formula. So make sure that this is all copied down. All right, so now you're going to probably need to hit pause somewhere, but you're going to need to write down this new set of instructions. And if you compare it to the first step, it's asking you to put it into a different form. Right? So it says write an equation in the slope-intercept form. And if you remember from the previous lessons, the slope-intercept form was the y equals mx plus b when you're given a point and a slope. So example 3 will give us a slope of a 6 and a point of 3 comma negative 4. So make sure that you hit pause and write down these new instructions and then get ready to do example 3. All right, so again, here's our example 3. It has a slope of 6 and we have 3 comma negative 4 as our point. And I rewrote the directions, but they're slightly different. So I want you to recopy these down again. We need lots of room over here. So again, number 1, you're going to have to so just copy this down right now, and then we'll practice that. All right, well, hopefully you have everything copied down by now. So step 1, label my slope and my point. So again, come over here. That says my slope is 6. This is my x1. This is my y1, right? So now we're labeled. Write the point formula. So here we go. Y minus y1 equals m x minus x1, right? So there's my formula. Now step 3, I'm going to plug it in. So I'm going to leave the y minus, what's my y1? Right here, it's a negative 4. I'm going to want to get rid of this soon. What is my slope? 6. X minus, and then good, that's just a 3. Close it up. Now, before we start changing things around, I do want to get rid of this minus negative 4. So I'm going to go y plus 4 equals 6 x minus 3. But again, this is not in the slope-intercept form. So that's what's different on this one. This has to be in the slope-intercept form, and it is not. So remember, the slope-intercept form is this right behind me, this y equals mx plus b. So since I'm kind of running low on room, I'm just going to write it up here. So I'm going to transfer this over to here. All right, so my first step after this one is to get it into the y equals mx plus b form. I'm going to distribute that 6. Remember, kind of get rid of parentheses. So I'm going to take the 6, multiply it, rewrite this down, y plus 4 equals, now I'm going to go 6x, and that's going to be minus 18, right? So I distribute it, and then I'm going to solve for y. Well, remember, take a look. The reason I say solve for y is y by itself? Yes. So this form means solve by y. So you come over here, well, what's the only thing with the letter y? The plus 4. So just minus the plus 4. So minus 4. But again, there's no letter, so make sure you put it under the 18. So you go minus 4, and then be very careful. Y drops down. Those cancel out. The 6x, we leave that alone. And then you put in negative 18 plus negative 4, and we get a negative 22. And we're done. This is in the slope-intercept form, right? So the first two examples, we got to leave it in the point-slope form, but in this one, we had to change it to the y equals mx plus b. All right, so we'll probably have one more example of these. All right, so here is my example 4. I've changed it so we'll have a slope of a negative 1, and the point says 4, 0, right? So again, I'm going to still follow these exact same steps that we did for example 3 for example 4. So if you need to, hit pause for a second, copy down that. All right, so again, step 1, we have to label our points. So here I'm labeling M, X1, Y1, right? So now everybody has a position. Write this formula again. Y minus Y1 equals M, X minus X1. Right, step 3, plug your stuff in. Y minus, what's my Y1? 0. Equals, what's my slope? My slope is going to be a negative 1. X minus, and then that's just a 4. Right, so I plugged in. Now I'm going to start changing it. So again, the first thing I'm going to do to change it is distribute, because I don't have any double negatives, so I'm going to go negative 1 times that, negative 1 times that. So I drop down my y minus 0. That's going to be a negative 1x. Negative 1 times negative 4 is a positive 4. So I just distributed, and then just get this 0 away from the y, so go plus 0, and we have y equals negative 1x plus 4, and that is in my slope-intercept form, or my y equals mx plus b, right? So if you haven't already, make sure that this is all copied down. Then you can go back and watch me go through it. All right, so this is a harder lesson, and it's only got part 1. There's still one other example I'm going to show you. So with that, have a math-tastic day.